This is God at Work. Welcome to God at Work. I am Kathy Benz, and today I have with me two beautiful ladies who volunteer and work at St. Gianna's Crisis Pregnancy Home. And today we have Ashley Steiner, who is their acting house manager. She works both day and night?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Correct. And we also have Kristen Lopes, who is the coordinator for Mentors. So Ashley, tell us how you ended up here.
I found St. Gianna when I was in a time of need. I was pregnant, had no family living nearby. All my family is up in New York. Financially struggling and unsure of how I was going to be able to get my own housing and my next meal and take care of a baby nonetheless. So I found through other resources St. Gianna, and that's how it came into my life.
Wow, God has blessed you that you ended up with this organization.
Absolutely.
So Kristen is going to tell us all kinds of stuff about the mentorship program. Right?
Absolutely. What would you like to start with?
Well, you have so much going on there. Let's see, what does the mentorship actually do for the women?
Okay, the mentors are, I have a team of volunteers that have been trained in a variety of ways, and their work is really to accompany the moms while they're in the home. We have kind of a resource, a binder resource that kind of is full of different things that they can do with the moms, but kind of the umbrella idea is they're there, first of all, just to really show the moms God's love. So that's the ultimate goal is you are loved. No matter where you've come from, no matter what's happened in your past, just to really show them that they are loved. And generally, as a rule, we're starting with just really trying to develop a relationship with the mom. So we're trying to spend time getting to know them, connecting with them, finding out about their lives, sharing some of ours, and just building trust. So we find that a lot of moms are coming in with very difficult backgrounds, very difficult childhoods, broken families, and so trust has been broken. And so a huge effort is how do you build that trust up? And I think that's just through spending time with the moms, simply showing up. I'm here every week, I'm volunteering, I'm here because I love you, I'm here because we care about you, and we want you to create good things in your life for yourself and for your children. And so initially it's a lot of just listening and learning. Initially, we had kind of hoped, and Ashley can maybe speak to this, but we had kind of hoped that they would be able to get to a point where they could really start to look back and reflect on their past. And what we've kind of found is that's not necessarily their first choice in doing that. It's more like, I'm here, I want to move forward. And so, but it's a time of hopefully helping them to start to look at it. What are my strengths? What are the strengths that got me here? So really kind of delving into, what do I have here to use? What has God given me? And what are the gifts that I do have? And so helping them to kind of explore that, and then kind of interwoven throughout that, of course, they come into the home and there's all sorts of things they need to start getting done. It's finding a job or signing up for school or getting daycare set up so that when the baby comes, there's daycare, and so there's all sorts of things. So we find we're kind of, having to navigate some of that at the same time, even though kind of, I think our initial intent was taking that time to build a relationship, and then we can start looking at, where do you want to go in your life from here? Kind of what's your vision? What would you like to do once you're out? And then what are the steps to get there? So goal setting. So goal setting would be part of that.
It's very comprehensive.
Yes. And so then really helping them to find those resources for those goals, connecting them with different organizations and agencies and different things in the community. And sometimes it's just, I mean, every mom's so different, you know, so every mentoring opportunity is going to be different. But sometimes it's just sitting with them for that hour or two and making phone calls with them. Yes. Okay, this is how you do this. So kind of modeling that or just encouraging them, they're doing it. So it really just depends on, you know, the mom, and we really want mom to drive it. So that's super important. And so in terms of faith and that kind of thing, I think primarily our goal is to model God's love, right? So we come in and we'll pray with them if they're open to that. We invite them to church. One of the house's goals is to get them connected with the faith community so that when they do leave, they have that support and they have that community for themselves and for their child or children.
Did you feel like you didn't have support till you came here, Ashley?
I really did not feel like I had support. I had support as far as my recovery family that I have, because I am in recovery. So I did have like a sponsor, people who supported what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, like what I wanted to accomplish. But it took coming into St. Gianna, where sitting down with my mentor, I always had all these goals that I wanted to do with my life and where I wanted to go. And
have those goals changed since you came?
A little bit. I mean, I've accomplished a lot in just this past year alone. My thing was I would come into St. Gianna and I knew what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, but my brain was so scattered on how to actually get started in accomplishing all that. So sitting with my mentor, it was her sitting down with me and being like, well, let's write it down. Let's make this to-do list. Let's make your short-term goals, your long-term goals. Where are we going to fall? And what's your steps to make those goals? And it gets overwhelming when you have so much to do, like find an OB, get into counseling, go to your appointments, get a job, especially when you have a rough background where it's not easy just to go in and walk in somewhere with open interviews and they'll hire you. So it was definitely a struggle. I was also able to attain one of my real goals, which was going back to school. I got to go to online classes for peer support, and I got my degree in peer support while in St. Gianna, which I thought was never going to be possible.
So this has been a real learning curve for you.
Absolutely.
And at times it was overwhelming, but how did the mentor help with that process?
She really just sat down with me, and it takes a while for trust to be built. Most women coming into this home, there is no trust with anybody because they're coming from a really rough situation most of the time. So they don't even trust themselves half the time coming in there. Mentors sitting with you and trying to learn where your strengths are and how you learn and how you build yourself up is where it starts. So sitting down with my mentor, she saw that I had all these things I want to do, and we couldn't get it organized because it was just out there being spoken about. Where sitting down, she's like, make this list. She was able to guide me through that. Even though it is something I already knew how to do, I just needed that reassurance I was doing it right, and then the baby goals were happening. Get an OB, get my birth certificate, find a daycare, find
all that
a job.
paperwork.
Yeah, all the hard things that you really need multiple steps to do, and there's so much to do for each application that you're putting in for programs. She was able to sit and break it down with me.
Wow, did that give you a sense of peace and calm once you started in this process?
With that part, yes. Knowing that I could sit there and I had my little steps for every little goal that I had, and I could cross it off as I went. Just like, for an example, applying for housing. They require so much documentation where if you don't sit with a list of everything you need, you're not going to remember it all. You're going to miss something. And I always thought that I could keep it all in my head and I would be able to accomplish it. I would come close, but I wouldn't have something that was important. So her just sitting down, just reassuring me that this was the way to do it, opened a whole bunch of doors to accomplish goals for myself.
So have you become a list maker from all this?
I do. Even today at home, I have my little whiteboard that I keep with all my bills that I be paid, incoming paychecks that I get, appointments, and then I even make my to-do list on a piece of paper every night before going to bed of what I have to take care of the next day.
Wow,
Yeah.
you've learned some real organizational skills,
Yes.
haven't you?
Yes.
Well, tell us about your baby. How has this helped your baby?
Oh my gosh. So I got honestly coming into St. Gianna, if it wasn't for this program, I probably would not have Gabriel. When you come into this program, there is, for moms that don't have stability, I came from a transitional sober living home, but the difference was I had such a financial burden on myself to live there. They required weekly rent, having your job. When you have a really hard pregnancy that's affecting how long you could stand and work for, but you still have to pay your bills, or you face being thrown out of somewhere, that stress is just, you don't think you're gonna make it. So when I came in St. Gianna, it sounded too good to be true. And over time there, because trust was hard for me with everybody. I didn't want to lose any children to the state. I didn't want, and I just wanted to do right. So after being able to accomplish going to school online after having him, he's doing wonderful. My family is in New York, and I didn't have anybody to be at the hospital with me. And out of nowhere, Kathy, both Missy and Kathy offered to come with me. And Kathy ended up coming with me to the hospital. I had to have a C-section early, but she was in the room with me the whole time.
Wow.
And
You have a doctor with you.
I had someone with me, and I had so much fear going on at that time too, because after he was born, there was no crying, and I didn't get that skin to skin immediately. I didn't see him while he was rushed right to the NICU. So that fear was, I was so scared, but I had Kathy there with me, and it was okay. Everything was going to be okay, and that support, that emotional support was you can't even describe it.
So back to God's love through the mentorship program. So you're getting it from all sides, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, God has really blessed you through this ministry, hasn't He?
Yes, he has.
So
And I just want to jump in and say
Yes.
she has blessed the ministry as well. Now in her role, her two roles as the night monitor and right now the acting day manager. She is just through her life experience, she's using those things, those experiences to help other moms. And her expertise and all of the resources, and she's now like our go-to person because she's been through it. And she knows the system, she knows the program, she knows the agency, she knows a lot of the people out there, and knows how it works. And as she was talking about, just applying for housing.
it's a nightmare, isn't it?
It is, but she knows how it works. So she's been a blessing to the house.
So you're walking everybody else through that process for getting housing, daycare, and all that.
I definitely helped them with all of it because I have been through it, going through St. Gianna, and even now, even on the outside in my own place through Housing Authority, I get to, there's always something that comes up that I have never experienced before, but I could pass it on to moms who are potentially going to be moving out to their own home, be like, hey, have this for the future, make sure you don't get rid of these documents because you're going to need them again for recertifications, but it's very nice knowing, if I knew coming into this program, having somebody who's had like real life experiences, it would make transitioning so much easier and trust so much quicker, I believe.
I think the key is the real life experience
Yes.
there. You have been there. So learning the ropes of all this system has really benefited you and now the others who are coming to the home.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Kristen, you have such a lot that you do over there. How do you help get these women prepared for motherhood? What did the mentorship program do for them? For living once they leave?
So the mentorship program or the program in general?
Well, either way.
Either way. Some of the things that stand out to me, and this is something Ashley as night manager has really helped to improve and kind of solidify, is one of our goals as a home is for the moms to have dinner together, to kind of create that community and that sense of how do we sit down with a family and enjoy a meal and have a conversation and eat together. And so that's always been one of our core values, is that time together. And initially we'd kind of struggled with making that happen. And then as soon as Ashley came in, she wrapped around that. It's all organized. And part of that is, a really important part of that is the moms cook the meals. Yes. So they're...
and you like cooking.
Yes.
so she's a good
This really
support
works.
for that, right?
Yes.
And so, they're planning that meal. They're trying to, utilize, being really practical and utilize food that's in the home, and
Budgeting.
figuring out what they
food.
can make from that, budgeting, and then making the meal. And of course, part of living at the house is doing chores, keeping the house clean, all those kinds of things. But so those are some of the things. Just your kind of daily, how do I live in a house? How do I keep it clean? How do I cook a meal? All those kinds of things. And then, of course, how do I live in community with other people? And even though we may not always see eye to eye, how do we work through those difficulties if there's a conflict of some kind? So I think those are some life skills that they're learning for sure.
And that's so important.
Right.
For
and
everyone.
And I think Ashley was referring to, helping people to know, what they need to keep for all of these different government agencies they're working for and that kind of thing. So one of the things we brought into the mentor program is a file box. So each mom is given a file box. The mentor will help them just set up, and I always say, okay, and you can just have one folder at the front that's just, okay, just if you aren't ready to file it yet, just stick it in that box so you don't lose it.
Right.
So helping them to get organized in that way. Another way is that the day manager will sit down with the moms once a month, and they are required to save at least 20%. So they have to show that they've put that in their account each month, so that they're building up that money for all of the costs for moving out. And then beyond that, now we're really encouraging that they also have an emergency fund beyond that, because things happen.
I feel like with that financial part that came into this program, like it wasn't there when I started, but when that did become implemented, it really did help, because most women coming into this, they're struggling with stability and where they're going to live, and they're getting their next meal, the hot shower, all these things people take for granted, don't realize that in struggling times we don't have the basic necessities. So,
and a lot of times money is the factor. And you mentioned in the beginning you were struggling with that.
Yes.
And that was part of your stress and pressure. And St. Gianna's took a lot of that off of you.
Yes, when I when I got offered my housing, I was ready to move out. I was able to put all the utilities on. I was able to pay my deposit, my first month's rent. I have backup of rent for 2 months in case there is an emergency. You want to set yourself a goal, and the best part about St. Gianna's is you're not paying anything except for your breakfast and lunch, which you're providing for yourself. All the necessities for yourself and your child is taken care of by donations, by St. Gianna's. It's such a support, and that knowing that stress is gone when you live there, like you don't gotta worry about paying rent on time, being evicted. If you lose a job, it's still okay. You have time to find a new one.
It helps prevent crisis from blowing up.
Yes.
It smooths everything out for you. And where else are you going to find this right now?
Right, you don't. There's no programs like St. Gianna where they pull you out of that critical moment of your life where you are struggling and don't know how you're going to survive and how you're going to take care of your child, which you love and want.
And that's so scary.
It's horrible.
When you're alone, when you feel so alone.
Yeah.
But you don't have that anymore. Now you feel supported.
Yes.
And I want you to talk a little bit more, Kristen, about the financial aspects. I know we have some kind of training for that.
We have brought in on several occasions, we've brought in people that come in and give classes on budgeting. I think what we've found is, beyond that, that moms need more of a kind of regular check-in. So sometimes the mentor will take on that role. Sometimes it's the day manager. Sometimes it's one of the directors, where it can't just be here's how you do it. There has to be kind of some accountability of, okay, let's look at your budget. When you move out, what will all your costs be? So let's project.
So this is how you're helping prepare them to move
Right.
out.
And then, okay, what is your income right now? How does that look once we kind of balance those two out? So just kind of that reality check, and then what can you do differently to make that look a little bit better, that you can survive.
Was this new news to you, all about finances, when you first came?
I feel like I had an understanding of finances, but when you get to the point where you've hit a bottom where you can't get ahead, that's where you're struggling, because there's no way to move forward. Mm-hmm. So when I moved to Kentucky, I was financially okay. I was able to pay my rent. I had a full-time job, was paying my bills, and had savings. I hit, a bottom and lost everything and had nothing to my name anymore, except for the clothes I was wearing at one point. Living out of a car, going to shelters. You cannot get ahead, even if you want to, when you don't have someone to give you that chance and that little bit of that freedom almost to do what you have to do to move forward. Mm-hmm. Anybody expecting you to come into a place and pay rent when you just have a job, now you're living paycheck to paycheck, and there is no savings for you to flourish and move forward into your own place and have that stability and security financially. St. Gianna provides that. You're able to have your savings build.
So you have a financial support now.
Yes.
You have emotional support. You have physical support.
Yes.
You have support for the baby.
Yeah.
You have it all here.
Yes, absolutely.
We just need to encourage more women to come, don't we?
Yes, yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, Kristen?
Just kind of adding on to what you two were just talking about, I think one of the things that I like to talk to moms about when they come in is just that they're used to just where's the next rent going to come from? Where, how am I going to buy gas this week? Mm-hmm. That kind of survival mode. All of that's taken care of now. You'll get rides places if you don't have a car, those kinds of things. All of that's taken care of. So this is an opportunity for the moms to be able to just have that off just the stress of that off their shoulders, and to be able to breathe and be okay and know they're going to be okay. And then that kind of allows that, hopefully, that ability to then look forward and say, okay, all of the basic necessities are taken care of. Where do I want to go from here? So kind of that freedom to open up that possibility of maybe I can do something that I really want to do to provide for my child and myself. Maybe I can do some of the things I've dreamed about in the past. Mm-hmm. And this is the avenue to do that.
Wow, I'm just so impressed with what this group is doing. You have so many people coming from everywhere, donating and volunteering time and transportation, and you name it. They're coming out of the woodwork.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. From the get-go, God has been right there leading us, because everything we need has been provided and continues to be. And now that we're our own 501c3, we're completely dependent on donations. So whether that's monetary, whether that's all of the clothing, the baby paraphernalia, the women's clothing, everything for the house, on and on and on, God just keeps providing. And then certainly the volunteers coming in and doing every single little thing that is needed to run a house. So
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I follow the WhatsApp for St. Gianna's, and I'm amazed at what people do. It's exciting what God is doing to you all. Is there either one of you want to speak about what the gala is going to do for the program? at all?
Well, just that. I mean, we're hoping, to be able to fund, as much as possible over the next year, and that's what the gala is for. And in the past, people have been incredibly generous. Each year, it just, really confirms that, God is providing, and we just welcome donations of any kind. Ashley is going to be speaking at the gala, so we'd love for everybody to come and hear Ashley's story. And
I'm
Looking forward
excited
to
for you.
it.
That's a big deal to
Definitely
get invited
exciting.
to speak.
Yes, that it's huge. I have never spoken in front of that many people before, but I don't think people who donate realize how much their donations impact the living and the circumstances for the mothers and the babies at St. Gianna. And I'm hoping that by telling the story of how I came into there and went through the program and graduated and I'm still doing really well, will help those who are so generous to understand the impact that they could make for us.
That's a great way to look at it. So
I think Ashley is a living testimony of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
So can you give a little specifics about the gala, when, where, what day, all that?
It is April 18th at La Gala, downtown Bowling Green. It starts at 6 p.m. The tickets are $100 for, I think you get 2 drink tickets, appetizers, and into our auctions, the silent auction.
And of course, a delicious meal.
And the delicious meal, right? I forget.
Yes.
You can find information about it on our St. Gianna website, which is www.stgianna2026pt2.com.
Wonderful. Thank you two ladies for coming.
Well, thank you.
This has been God at Work, and we're here with two lovely ladies from St. Gianna's Crisis Pregnancy Home. And this is again Ashley Steiner and Kristen Lopes, and we are so glad you both came.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
us.
Kathy.
Thank you all.